Hi, welcome to day 2 of Evolve. Today we're going to be talking about peace, letting go of what no longer serves you. Give me just a second. For some reason, got two note takers on here. I don't know what happened. Um, but I want to welcome you. And this experience is designed to be taken in quietly on your own time without pressure to respond, keep up, or get it right. There's nothing you need to do while watching this. I just want you to listen and notice what resonates with you. Yesterday, we talked about awareness, and today is about release because you can't bring something new into a space that's already full. So I'm going to give you a little recap on what we focused on yesterday, which was awareness. We learned that feeling capable but unclear doesn't mean something's wrong. Confusion's often a signal, not a failure. Survival mode is driven by pressure, not weakness. And awareness is the ability to notice what's true without reacting to it. We slowed things down intentionally because awareness needs space. And once you become aware of what you're carrying, the natural next step is to release. And that's what we're going to talk about today is releasing, letting go what no longer serves you. And I want you to know that release isn't about quitting. It's not about burning things down. And it's not about judging your past decisions. When we release, it's about making room. Many women try to add clarity, confidence, and momentum to their business, but they don't let go of what no longer fits or serves them. And then what happens when they don't is change doesn't stick. What you're holding on to may not be wrong because it may have once protected you. It may have helped you survive. But I want you to know that survival is not the same as alignment. I want to just take a minute and share this part with you because it's important to me. And this is where Evolve really came from. There was a season in my business where on the outside, everything looked like it was working. I was showing up, I was building, I was visible, I was doing what I knew what to do or how to do. But intentionally, something just felt heavy. It wasn't broken, not dramatic. It just was heavy. And for a long time, I ignored that feeling. I told myself that I should be grateful. I told myself this is just a part of growth. I also told myself everyone feels this way at some point. But the truth was, I wasn't tired because I was doing too much. But I was tired because I was still operating from an old version of myself. And that version of me was, you know, that I learned to survive. I learned how to push. I learned how to make things work, even when they no longer fit. And, as I was sitting reflecting, you know, I asked myself a different question. I said, why am I holding on to what no longer serves me or the business I'm actually building now? And trust me, that question was uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, because the answers weren't about tactics, platforms, or strategies. What it was really about was ways I was working from pressure instead of intention. Expectations I outgrown, but I didn't release. Beliefs that once protected me, but were now limiting my leadership. And none of those were wrong. They just belonged to an earlier version of me. And I'll tell you what surprised me the most was the moment that I stopped trying to force clarity and I started releasing what no longer fit. Clarity didn't feel so far away anymore. And I want you to know it didn't arrive as a big plan or the perfect answer. It arrived quietly through ease, simplicity, and through making decisions that felt lighter. And in that moment, I realized something really important. Clarity isn't something you chase, it's something that shows up when you stop caring what isn't yours anymore. You know, when we don't let go and release, we're carrying old patterns that stay in control, decisions that come from pressure instead of intention, and our nervous system stays on alert. Growth then starts to feel heavy instead of expansive. And this is how many businesses stall, not because they weren't capable, but because they were carrying what no longer belongs. And when we release what no longer fits, clarity has a room to surface. Alignment becomes easier to recognize. Leadership replaces reaction. And that next version of you can actually land. Letting go doesn't mean you're losing yourself. What it means is you're making room for who you're becoming. Now I want to give you a reflection for today. Okay? And if you need to pause this video, but I want you to ask yourself this question. And it was the same question I asked myself. What am I still holding on to in how I work, how I decide, how I lead that no longer serves who I'm becoming? I'll repeat that. What am I still holding on to in how I work, how I decide, and how I lead that no longer serves who I'm becoming? You don't have to answer it today. I just want you to notice what surfaces. And yesterday we did an action step for day one. And today we're going to do action step for day two. And this isn't homework, it's an invitation. So you don't have anything to turn in. There's no post you have to do or grades or for doing homework. But I want you to just think and I want you to notice this. I want you to choose one thing you're ready to release internally. Let me explain that. It could be a belief. Maybe it's a pressure, an expectation. It could be a way of working. You don't need to change it yet. I just want you to acknowledge it. Release begins with recognition. So today we talked about releasing is not a failure, it's a capacity. What once protected you may now actually be limiting you. Reflection creates space for clarity, and the new cannot enter a full container. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about clarity, not clarity as a certainty, not clarity as to having all the answers, but clarity as an alignment. How clarity actually shows up after release, and how to recognize what fits now, and how to begin choosing from alignment instead of urgency. If release creates the space, clarity is what fills it. I will see you tomorrow for day 3. Enjoy your evening. Make it a great day.